In this tutorial, we are going to look at a complete workflow of the system, step by step. So, to start, you need to create classes, and then you go ahead to register users, and then you register students, and then assign subjects and classes to teachers. These 4 items you see here are expected to be completed before teachers are now able to log in and capture their scores. So it is expected that you do these things first. In class creation, there are certain things you need to take note of. One, the class we are saying it is an options within learning areas. So for science learning area, that have optional subjects like geography, biology, ICT, or computing. You are required to create 4 classes for science learning area. And each of the class is expected to feature one of these options. And then in loading the students, you are required to pick each for one of the classes you have created. So for biology, if you want to load them in bulk, you have to compile a complete list of all biology students or students offering biology in science learning area. And then when uploading, select the biology class you have created. And then also, you need to take note of the name you give to this class. The name requires that the learning area must feature in the class name. The subject option must also feature in the class name, and the year batch of the students have to feature in the class name. So you can have, like science learning area, you see science hyphen biology hyphen 2024 or 2025, as the case may be. And then from there, after creating classes, you go ahead to register users. And then users, we have 2 ways you can register them: by compiling a complete list of all teachers and then upload in Excel. So that one is bulk upload. And then we also have 1-by-1 registration on the web form, which is available for you. For student registration, also we have 2 ways, which is bulk upload and then individual registration of students. For bulk upload, it allows you to set up quick setup of students. That way, the teachers can go ahead and start capturing the scores whilst you take your time to prepare the images, because on-form registration of individual students requires picture as mandatory before you are able to register them. And in order to just quickly set up for teachers to start capturing while to prepare the pictures, you can use the bulk upload option. And then after, you can go to manage students to upload their pictures. After registering the student, you go to assign subjects and classes. This is very crucial because the system now wants to understand which subjects and which classes are these teachers going to teach. But during the enrollment, you only capture the name, the phone number, and email addresses of the teachers. And then when this 4 section is completely done, now you can call the teachers to go ahead and log in to start capturing the scores. After capturing the scores, students are required to review these scores that have been captured by the teachers. And then after, we have what we call final submission. And then we can have our reporting and student transfers. So student transfers, we are saying that the system supports fully student mobility, where a student is able to move from one school to the other with all their assessment history fully intact. Now let's look at score capture workflow. So score capturing by teachers require a certain workflow that they need to follow. When the teacher logs in and then navigate to capture the scores. After capturing the scores, it is required that the teacher must download immediately the scores he has just captured and review it to ensure that no errors are detected. If errors are detected by the teacher, he is to go back and get them corrected. When everything is in place, now you take this download, display it for students to review. You may consider printing and pasting it in a general notice board where all students can be asked to go and then verify their entries and ensure that whatever has been captured for them represent a true reflection of their performance. You may also circulate it in their various classes for them to review, and if any error detected, they report for the teacher to get that corrected. In this, we have a limited timeline for course correction, which is about 2 weeks. So you have to ensure that this is carried out within 2 weeks. Then we have final submission. So if no error detected at all across all the students that you have captured, you may finalize your submission so that the system knows no further correction will be required again. Then your work is done. Now, we want to talk about student transfers. Now, student transfers requires the originating school authorizing the transfer and then destination school accepting the transfer. So the originating school will want permission, especially in the case of public school students, where they are under free SHS. They want authorization from GES Directorate. So once that permission is granted, the originating school, based on the permission granted, they log in and then authorize the transfer for these students. And then through the unique reference ID, which is available to the destination school, this student is searched for and then accepted by the destination school. And then learning continues as such from wherever the student left off from the previous school. Now we have some recommended timelines for all assessment to be captured. And these timelines are as follows. From week 1 to week 4, it is expected that individual class assessment should have been completed. From week 5 to week 7, mid-semester assessment is expected to be completed. And then from week 1 to week 12, practical or portfolio activities are expected to have been completed. From week 4 to week 12, group projects and research. Mind you, for week 4 and week 12, group project is for first semester, and then individual project is for second semester. This is the only difference between the first and second semester. And then from week 12 to week 14, we have supervised individual assessment, which is the end of term or end of semester exam. And it is expected to be completed and captured onto the portal. And then follows each of these assessment capture student verification. Very, very important. Failure to allow students to see what you have captured for them will mean that errors will be detected outside of the permitted window of correction. And that will tell when you call for support to get such anomalies corrected. Now we have assessment or semester assessment structure. This is by way of information only. Schools are not to follow this strictly. Teachers must always mark assessment against these structured values. They are free to award overall score outside of these structured values. Theirs is only to indicate accurately whatever overall score they have awarded to any mode of assessment they are conducting. Example, a teacher that is conducting individual class assessment. On the structure that has been given, 15% is what comes from the individual class assessment. But this teacher can choose to mark it over 25. No conversion needed. All this teacher needs to do is to indicate it at the overall score section that he has assigned 25 to this particular mode of assessment, and then go ahead to capture the scores each of the students have obtained from this assessment. So to go through the structure, we are saying that individual class assessment contributes 15%, mid-semester contributes also 15%, portfolio, practical and performance assessment contribute 10%. And then we have group projects or individual projects, as the case may be, for first and second semester. It also contributes 20%. And then we have supervised individual termly or end of semester or end of term exam, which contributes 40%. Even this 40%, a teacher may choose to do 100. Just indicate and the system will do internal conversion automatically for you. Thank you.